Hey guys, and welcome back to a very British-themed episode of Spot of PC. There you go, you can see the Team 17, you can see the Worms, the new can has been opened, and it's time to play Worms Ultimate Mayhem.
Yes, but the 3D kind, which is one I'm not overly familiar with, but Tom, you have a particular fondness for the 3D games, in spite of what the norm would suggest.
Apparently I just have terrible taste, yeah. I was a big fan of Worms 3D, which I had on the GameCube, I think, but it's also on, like, PS2. And, I've never actually played Ultimate Mayhem, but when we were, like, discussing which Worms game shall we cover, and me being Commander No Fun that I am, immediately shot down the classic that is Worms Armageddon. Don't worry, we'll probably be covering that at a later date. But I wanted to do Worms 3D, only to find out that it wasn't really compatible with, like, Volk's setup, so I was sad. Volk suggested we do, like, that Forts game, or whatever it's called, and I've never really played that, but I've heard mixed things, shall we say. But then I was, like, searching, and Worms Ultimate Mayhem came up, and I was like, this looks interesting. And it's actually a re-release of Worms 4 Mayhem with improved graphics, and it includes the campaign from Worms 3D, which I absolutely loved, because, again, I am insane.
Yep, and we're going to play a little bit for you now before we get into some good old deathmatch action right here.
Yeah, Worms is primarily, I guess you could call it, like, a strategy game. The wiki calls it an artillery strategy game, and that's its genres as well. You essentially have a team of worms and an opposing team of worms, and your job is to survive while taking out the opposing team. And as you can see here, we're repping Team HFC.
Oh yes, we are repping him in a big way.
I can't believe one of the fucking German worms is called Fritz.
Yes. I'm surprised, though, that there is no appearance, from what I can see, of the legendary worm known as Bogey Bee. You get Bogey Pete instead, who is a farmer, essentially, trying to grow extra large crops. They then weaponize into various mad weapon types.
Oh Jesus, Mexi, no!
Oh, he's fine. He's got plenty of health.
Oh, his belly, 'tis but a scratch.
An absolute shark.
That's just what Mexi would say.
Yeah, I figured that the best thing to go would be for the British style of worms, so I went all out with the style of them as well, so...
Yeah, because you can customize your team quite effectively for them being just a bunch of, like, no skeleton-having, friggin' dividing kind of worms. And, you know, you can change their voices, you know, the way they speak and so on. I mean, that's kind of the same thing, but I was referring to accents versus inflections.
Yep, exactly. The one thing I kind of wish they did do was allow you to customize each individual worm, because one thing I wanted to do when I tried to put Flaming Claw into the game, which, spoiler alert, Flame is actually in this game at some point, where I wanted to get him to a point where I could just, like, give him an anime wig and, like, 3D glasses to just turn him into the ultimate weeb. But then the rest of the team would have to be the ultimate weeb, and I ain't wearing that shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's like his appeal, you know, we can't take that from him, it's all he has.
Exactly. But the main thing that draws people towards Worms, apart from its kooky sense of humour, is indeed the weapons, which are varying degrees of mad and wonderful.
Oh yeah, you can go from the basics, like you've got a shotgun, you've got rockets, to things like, what is it, exploding sheep?
Yep, exploding sheep, banana bombs, holy hand grenades, concrete
yes.
donkeys.
Yes, that is a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the Holy Hand Grenade.
Yep, it was actually introduced in Worms Armageddon, and probably one of my favourite weapons by far. But yeah, there is a whole ton of weapons that have appeared throughout the Worms series, and they're all equal parts balmy and fun to use, and that's where the main appeal of Worms comes in. It never for a second takes itself seriously.
Yeah, it's just fun times, really, and I think I like Worms 3D because the destructible environments just kind of pop so much more. Like, there's so many more variables to take into account when you're moving about in a 3D environment. But that's not to say I dislike the 2D, you know, Worms series. It's just that, I don't know, this one just appealed to me a little bit more.
It just resonates with you a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, Worms is a very unique series of game in which there haven't really been many games that try to replicate what Worms did. Like, there's only one game I can really name, and that was a game by the name of Hogs of War,
Yes,
which came out on the PlayStation 1, which was narrated by the legendary, yet sadly now gone, Rick Mail. And yeah, Hogs of War tried to do it and kind of tried to impart its own style into it, and it did kind of work, but Hogs of War was the only game that really came close. No one dared try to infringe on what Worms was doing.
Did you see that shit at the back there, by the way? A rocket exploded in front of my face and I didn't give a shit.
Bad luck, old boy.
So I'm guessing we have to take like wind resistance and such into account.
Yep, wind resistance is a very big thing in Worms, especially in the 3D games where you got wind direction in multiple planes of existence, I guess. Whereas in the 2D games you only had to worry about how strong the wind was going either left or right, you gotta worry about exactly what direction the wind is facing as well as its speed. So it's a little bit harder to get those swag money bazooka shots in this game, but it's all the more satisfying when you do manage to pull it off.
What was that, like, genie lamp back there, by the way?
That is the gravestones, which you can also customize for your worms and have various different gravestones, including the said genie lamp.
Ah, okay. And we're moving on to another level now, obviously.
Yep, this is the 4th level of the Worms 3D campaign. I did skip ahead a little bit because the next 2 maps in the campaign were more agility-based, shall we say. It's more platforming and telling you how to sort of get around the map.
NTom 64 is about to unleash hell.
Yes, that seemed a bit too convenient if you ask me.
Bit on the nose, yeah.
And Mexy's waving, he was just like, yeah.
Just let Tom do his thing. I'll talk about Zelda and he can edit.
And then on the closer inspection, turns out that was Richie. God damn it. But there we go, Bogey Pete. Although he has the high ground, unlike a certain Star Wars, it does not mean he wins. It means he's going in to drink.
Oh yeah. Be careful of trying to survey the environment from a high place, a vantage point, if you will, because that can very easily be turned against you.
Yeah, this is where the 4th mission kind of plays into that a bit, because you got to manage yourself correctly, because the water level's rising up, but at the same time, you want to keep yourself on the higher ground, but not leave yourself vulnerable.
A piddly little 1 damage. I am invincible.
He seems happy about it. It's probably the first hit he's got all day.
Man, our weapon collection is looking pretty sparse right now. Will it open up later?
In the later parts of the campaign, yeah, it does. In Deathmatch, though, you do get a little bit more, but to get the really beefy weapons like the banana bomb, not only do you have to find them in crates, but they're also locked by a time delay. So you have to wait a certain amount of turns to use them. I guess it's a way of balancing them out in that you can't just find a super powerful weapon, immediately throw it, and then just blow everybody up.
Oh, is that Shoryuken?
Yep, that is the fire punch.
Ah, I think I remember using that quite a bit.
Ah yes, I remember also trying to do shenanigans with the kamikaze. That was another big thing I liked doing.
I'm trying to remember my favourite weapons, or the ones I use the most. Banana bomb was up there for sure, because it explodes and then it explodes a lot more times.
Oh yeah, and unlike the cluster bomb, the bananas are especially deadly.
Oh yeah.
For me, probably has to be, well, the Holy Hand Grenade is definitely up there. Concrete Donkey is pretty much up there as well, just because of how absurd it is.
What the fuck?
And, what else? I guess the Old Woman and the Mole Strike. That was it, Mole Strike. Where you got moles that dig into the ground, so people that try to entrench themselves into a piece of terrain are not safe.
So you're having a bit of problem with the platforming here.
Well, I was trying to see if I could actually get up there, and you can probably do it, except you gotta try and get the jumps pretty much pixel perfect. And unfortunately I took a bit too long. You're on a time limit on your turn, so you don't have all the time in the world just to kind of get your bearings.
What the hell happened to him? He just kind of died.
The water level rose up and he didn't reach the high ground in time. Now Richie's in a spot of trouble.
Nice one, kiddo.
Oh, it's fine. He's taken worse.
Yeah, true. And the water level rises that little bit more and drowns another worm.
Sad man died. How? Oh my god.
Now it's Mexy's time to shine. Now, of course, we just used all our jetpacks, so
Son of a bitch.
getting him to safety is going to be a bit difficult. But luckily for us, we have the trusty girder.
Oh, I remember this. I think I made like entire levels out of these things.
Yeah, you do get levels like that in Worms Armageddon as well. So, you get yourself a little platform, and then you're able to navigate your way accordingly.
If this seems a little bit like blow-by-blow commentary, it's because I do not watch these like bits of footage in advance, so it's always as a surprise to me as it is to you guys.
And I know what's coming most of the time as well. Sometimes I'll conveniently forget, but I know what's coming, and I'm trying my best not to spoil things for him.
Richie, no! Now who's going to do most of the talking at night?
You're going to need to get a pre-recording. You're going to have to just splice footage together.
No, just splice like audio clips. Hello, Tom. How nice of you to invite me to a com.
Jiminy Jillica's radioactive, man! There we go, it's Tom's time to shine once again.
I'm going to get revenge from my pal, my fellow Nottinghamite.
And we're going to do it bazooka style, because
Thought I was going to assassinate Mexy for a second there.
it's just like, this is what I think of your Zelda runs.
quality gameplay habit, son of a bitch.
Damn nice shot, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
Yeah, the bazooka, it's one of those weapons where it just feels so much better if you manage to score like a really meaty hit on someone.
Really? Using a shotgun from all the way over there?
Well, he's hoping the spread will kind of hit you and then knock you off the edge.
What is he doing?
He's the AI. He's special.
Oh no! Damn.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about Richie's commentary anymore.
Oh Jesus, we'll die together.
Dark humor, eat your heart out. There we go. Hell Dragon's gonna get some revenge for you.
I knew this was his plan all along.
Hell Dragon with the swag bazooka shot.
Nice.
And what a dive as well. I give that 6 points at the Olympics at least.
Oh yeah. I love worms. It's so funny.
Yep. I mean, you don't really need to take notes for a playthrough such as this, because it just speaks for itself in such huge volumes.
Yeah, and I'm really glad we actually found out about Ultimate Mayhem, because again, I love the campaign of Worms 3D, and just like that with standard deathmatch stuff is great.
But yes, here we go. The moment you've probably all been waiting for. It's HellfireComms versus Heckflame Communications. Of course, I am heading Team Heckflame, as the standard 4 HFC guys are heading up the other team.
That would be myself, Mexi, Helldragon, and Richie.
And for my team, I've picked myself, Flaming Claw, Samurai Snake, and Chaff Grenade.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, there's Helldragon, looking over the horizon. Are we the aliens to them? But I'm gonna give him this stick of dynamite to think about.
Joke's on you, he eats sticks of dynamite for breakfast.
Yes, I'm sure he does. Also, I just decided to make my team look as ridiculous as possible, so I got the stupid little raccoon hat, the shutter shade glasses, and sock puppets for gloves.
Kanye would be proud.
And also Leet Speak. And this is why the AI is bullshit. Just being able to land bazooka shots like that, like it's no thing.
I'm surprised Flame didn't die there, because they're not very kind of lenient when it comes to landing in water.
No, he was pixels off. I suppose in 3D you have to be a little bit more lenient just because of how polygons work. If it was more pixel-based, like with the Armageddon series and such, I think maybe he probably wouldn't have gotten away with that, honestly, but luckily the 3D planes saved him.
Do it, Flame. Avengers! Oh wait, this isn't Flame. What am I talking about? Yes, it is! He's not on our team! York, stay well away from me! No! The Hell Dragon has drowned!
By a form of baseball bat. Baseball bat's very, very good if you want to try and get someone off the edge. It's very, very powerful. Although I will say it's probably more powerful than Armageddon. They go flying for miles if you hit them just right. Whereas with this one, it's more like a hefty tap.
Huzzah!
Oh, he just missed. Good shot though. I think if he had left the fuse for a little bit longer, that probably would have hit.
So what can we get in terms of equipment in the game? We know about weapons, but what does equipment, like, go?
Equipment usually just gives you more means to traverse the landscape. So you got like your teleporters, your ninja ropes.
Ah, the grappling hook.
Your jetpacks, your girders, all that sort of thing. Basically things to help you get around the map. And then you use your weapons, obviously, to just lay waste to your enemies.
Come on, hasn't Richie suffered enough?
No, not quite. I'm kind of deciding amongst myself what form of punishment I want to delve out.
Should I shoot him in the face?
Oh, I'm gonna go for the good old-fashioned... Sure you uppercut! Because, you know, copyright and all that, I suppose they can't just say, sure you can.
And the thing with worms is you gotta be careful, like, when you choose to go into attack, because you can very easily leave yourself in a very vulnerable position if you don't get to, like, a safe area within the time you have left after an attack.
Yeah, there is a lot of things you gotta take into consideration, like knowing which worm will be in the turn order, so you may not necessarily want to get right up close to them. But at the same time, you can also let them get a mode where you can kind of switch freely between your worms during each of your turns. So if you do it like that, then you don't necessarily have to worry about it. But I think that just adds to the overall strategy. I like the idea that you can't just switch worms on a whim. That you either have to find a power up to let you do so, or you just gotta make do with what you got. It adds a whole strategic element to it.
I forget, does the sheep go off on its own, or are you controlling it?
You don't control the sheep's movement unless you have the super sheep, but you can control when it explodes.
Oh my god, he barely survived that.
Yeah, he took it like a champ.
Am I sick or something?
I think he did get poisoned earlier on. So, you're looking a little green around the gills, but that's okay. That's not going to stop you from making these amazing bazooka shots, I'm sure. Ooh, very close. Oh wait, you did clip Snake. I think he got slightly tapped by a piece of rock that flew out from the ground there.
So is this like the HellfireComms Civil War? Is that what this is? A bunch of you just broke off and now you're on like Team Tony or something?
Yeah, pretty much. We gotta show you who's the superior worms.
Ooh, nasty. You did him dirty.
Indeed I did. It just seemed like too perfect an opportunity to not use the sniper rifle, even though basically anything would have probably killed him, but I thought the more finesse weapon was the way to go.
That's nasty. Will we ever forget Richie? Probably, yes.
Yeah, they don't mince their worms in these games.
They're worms.
They're people too, damn it.
Okay, give me a little bit of the Volk worms history. Like, how did you get into the series?
I actually started out, I found a demo of the original Worms game on when I was subscribed to my gaming magazines where they send you these free demo discs. And I had one with Worms on there. So I played through it. It was really, really fun. And I thought, I should probably get the full version of this. And so I did. I had much more fun. I ended up skipping Worms 2, but then I got Worms Armageddon on the PC, and like a whole bunch of my friends at school did as well. And we just meet up together regularly and just play Worms Armageddon for hours on end.
So is Armageddon the third game?
Armageddon is indeed the third game. But then, after that, I guess Armageddon lasted me so long I didn't really need anything else. And I didn't really get back into Worms again until about Revelations, which is one of the more recent titles to come out.
Yeah. Oh wow, there's a ton of them. Like, you got Worms in 95, Worms Reinforcements, Worms the Director's Cut, and then Worms 2. Then you have Armageddon, World Party 3D, Force Under Siege, which is the one we passed over, 4 Mayhem, Open Warfare, then just Worms in 2007, Open Warfare 2, a Space Odyssey, rather. Well, that fits the Worms more, I guess. Worms 2 Armageddon, Worms Reloaded, Worms Battle Islands, Worms Ultimate Mayhem, which we're playing now, obviously. Revolution, Worms for Facebook, which started in 2012 and closed in 2013. Worms 3, Worms Clan Wars, which sounds like a mobile thing. Worms Battlegrounds, Worms World Party Remastered, Worms 4 last year, and Worms WMD in 2016.
That is a lot of worms. So this is why I tried to use the Super Sheep. I had never used this weapon prior, and I'm not used to it being in a 3D environment, so I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'll use my Armageddon knowledge here to try and figure out how this thing works.
Super Sheep. This one you can control, right?
Yep, you control it in full 3D space. Now, I thought you just press the button to make it explode again. Turns out that's not the case. It just reverts it back into normal sheep form, and I completely miss.
Oh, Tom.
This is me not being used to 3D games.
Oh, this might interest you, actually. You know that Worms WMD thing?
Yep.
Which apparently has many different meanings. Wonderful multiplayer destruction, weave massive discounts, we make devastation, we'll make you dangerous, worms must die. Well, that's me dead, and worms in many destinations. But Worms WMD is an upcoming artillery strategy game in the Worms series, currently planned to be released 23rd of August 2016. It is supposed to be closer to Armageddon than subsequent installments, while adding brand new features from usable vehicles such as tanks to buildings that the worms can enter.
Fair enough. That sounds good. I don't know if you noticed that I used a weapon called Zawardo.
Wow.
And it caused a big explosion. Unfortunately, you weren't in it.
Yeah, well, I'm surviving by the skin of my teeth here.
I blame your stand.
Uh-huh.
You got a worm stand.
Yeah, my stand one more time!
Literally leaves you on 1 health, but, like, leaves you completely unkillable.
No, it means I can retake whenever I want.
Ah, fair enough. That works too.
You gotta read up on the HFC law, mate. You're sorely lacking.
That's fair enough. I need to stand on my own, actually, thinking about it.
Well, you're into PC a lot. Leave it with me.
Yep. We'll come up with something. So here we go. I got a little bit sick and tired of trying to use like all these fancy weapons to try and kill you, so I just went in with the shotgun.
Jesus Christ, mate, you have to kill me Mafia style.
Well, that's sometimes how you gotta do it. I mean, the big weapons are always fun, but, you know, there is a certain element of accuracy you have to consider, or lack of it in my case.
Oh my god, HellfireComms won. Volk's the new leader of HFC.
Ah, yes, it was a very, very well-earned victory, but, you know, I'm the sporting type. I'll let it go best 2 out of 3.
Whatever.
Only a cameo role.
Oh, that's the Hell Dragon for you.
Well, that's when it comes to Battle Network. That dude is on fire.
Oh, I think I remember this level.
Yeah, this is one of the 3D maps that you can choose from. So you get your Ultimate Mayhem multiplayer maps, but they also include the 3D multiplayer maps in there as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
You're losing.
So yeah, if you were ever a fan of Worms 3D, just get like Ultimate Mayhem for the PC and you're pretty much covered.
Yeah, it has all that there and more, so, you know, you're pretty much sorted.
You going to be getting Worms WMD because it is coming out on PC.
Ooh, I may well have to. I wouldn't mind getting into Worms again.
Microsoft Windows, PS4 and Xbox One.
Very well.
Now look here.
Damn, how many front flips was that? That'll get you some mad points in Tony Hawk.
Damn, Richie's just getting fucked up in this.
He's a little bit dizzy by the looks of it. I mean, after a spin like that, who wouldn't be? Let's face it.
Why do the scholars always have to be the ones who suffer the most?
They suffer for their art. That is the reason they live.
Favorite rule?
No, not Chaff!
He loved his monsters and he died as he lived. Dying.
Oh no! Hell Dragon just took out NBN!
And Chaff went with him.
Ah. A necessary sacrifice, some might say. But was it really?
That's what we call balancing the karma scales.
Pretty much, although there's also the second attack that literally led to like a mine combo, so...
See, just the scale of these maps, like you're all the way up looking down. I mean, you get that slightly in Worms Armageddon and such, but I don't know, this always just appealed to me. I just love the concept of 3D games in general, really.
Yeah, 3D does give you like more options of interesting movement and things like that, so I definitely can see why, on that respect, it would be more appreciated, just because more means of moving around is always nice.
For fuck's sake, will you stop gangster killing HellfireComms?
I'm sorry, it has to be done.
OMG, learn to play.
Okay, so not only are you winning, you're also shit-talkers. That's nice.
I blame Flame almost entirely.
Is it the computer handling HellfireComms movements?
Yes, I believe I put them at about level 4.
Uh-huh.
So I tried to make it somewhat above average.
Okay, well.
Because I think if I put them on level 5, it would just be a bit too much, but level 3 might have been probably a bit too little, so I tried to go somewhere in between.
Well, you were very, very generous, I'll give you that.
I got you in my sights.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And now I get in my getaway vehicle!
How is this even remotely fair?
Well, you're kind of all perched up, like, all the way around the edges, so, you know.
I didn't make that decision.
Well, neither did I! It's just the way of the game. The game is fair in some ways and unfair in others. But I think there's only one way that we can possibly end this little scuffle-kerfuffle.
What's that, mate?
Shotgun flicks.
Well, remember that weapon Zawardo? You know, the one that just utterly failed to kill you?
Uh-huh.
I decided to retire that because it just wasn't putting the work in, so I decided to come up with something a bit different that I think is the only fitting way to off you. The shitpost.
Okay. Wait, I have mastered the shitpost. You think it can master me?
Well, let's find out, shall we? So, one of the main things about Ultimate Mayhem is, as well as customizing your worms, you can also customize your weapons, but you gotta keep it fair. You can't just put all the things on it and expect it to work.
What the hell?
Well, I said it was the shitpost. It's actually named.
I hate this. I hate everything about this. I'm not dead though, you fucker. Your shitpost failed.
But you are poisoned.
Oh, whatever.
The shitpost has a long-lasting, lingering effect.
Well, that's a shitpost for you, I guess.
So there we go. Worms Ultimate Mayhem. I can only imagine what you would feel about this game, obviously, being basically Worms 3D with a little bit more on the side.
Nice. I may have missed you, but I took Snake out.
I just had to force to watch it just so it whizzed past me and then just hit Snake is just like, no, who will I play Streets of Rage with now? But yeah, I found myself enjoying this a little bit more than I thought I would. And I tried to sort of cast aside my bias for Armageddon whilst I did this. And I like the whole moving around in the 3D plane thing. It's just, I just prefer the way Armageddon works. Like, I'm sorry, it's just how it goes.
That's fine. It's like, you can be biased. It doesn't really matter. You like what you like. And by the way, I always knew Flame would be the one to take me out.
Yep, we could see it coming. We saw the signs.
I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. But yes, this has been Worms Ultimate Mayhem. I've had a cracking good time with this episode and with the Bit Trip series. We hope you've enjoyed them. Most Friendly Fire, the Hell Dragon. Makes sense.
I always knew he would be the one to betray us.
Wow, Flaming Claw was actually the MVP. Interesting.
Yep. Killed 2 dudes. Pretty good.
That'll do it for this episode of Spot of PC. We'll see you next month for a couple more. Bye for now.